So let me load in a few other things to illustrate some of the new changes that we've done. We've gotten a thing called attach goals. So what I'm going to do, this is an attacking blob. These are two objects. These have deformations on them, so they're pulsating and moving. And I've got a generator on the ground. They are told to basically attack these approaching blobs, just to help speed up a little bit of this because of the systems and all. I'm going to go to bounding box and hit multi-thread capable calculation. And what you're going to see is these agents now are flying up toward the goals. And in prior incarnations of the flocking tool, we could use an object as a goal, but we had to set again that sphere of influence. This is actually reading the deformation and reading that geometry, the underlying goal. So here they've attached themselves to the surface. It's still undulating, and I can now control the size of the agents to have them grow over time. This is now shareable by hypervoxels. If I tell the agents to pass along that size information, the hypervoxel will now match the size of the agent. So as the agents know I'm this big so as to not interpenetrate one another, that's being passed on to the hypervoxel so that it can use that to grow. So this is probably close enough. Let's go ahead and go to VPR, and this particular shot will show that they've grown after they've attacked the blobs, and this is back as they're feeding up onto them. Again, they are being deformed. The particles are attaching. So this is another way of having the agents have a location and a shape to go to. Speaking of shapes, we can use this to do a type of motion graphic. So what this is again, this has a logo shape and a logo shape. I'll go ahead and hide these. They're not going to be rendered anyway. So as I calculate this flock, you will see that through a simple animation control, to tell it, I want you to go to this goal, match its shape, then after a given period of time, leave that shape and go to another shape. So here the particles, the agents are spelling out the Lightwave 11.5. They pause. The text shape has a deformation that's going to start waving. They match the surface of the object, then change and attach to the other object for it to then settle down. Again, adding more controls over where, how flocks are done. This is giving us controls for doing those attacking bacteria. I know a friend of mine who worked a lot on CSI would have really enjoyed having some of these, and he made mention of seeing them. If I just have the agents themselves with no goal, this is an interesting study as well, because this is showing they're attracting and then collision in and amongst themselves, in and amongst the agents. So as these agents are being activated, they're attracted to each other, whoever's closest to it, and then they grow like a petri dish, like a bacteria growing out of that. All of these that I've shown so far have had a specific goal, have had either a location to go to or a shape to go to. We have additional methods of controlling these, and one is a path. This particular quick setup here, if I calculate this out, is using agents, is using instances, and it's using our automatic banking, as these are being applied to racing spaceships on this track. The path is just a keyframed path to make that shape. The agents are then born into the track. They then run around the track at a given speed. They're, again, collision avoidance and everything like this. When they finish calculating, the auto banking will then kick in, and you'll see that they actually do automatic banking and turning into each of the turns. So for your flocking spaceships, you're flocking birds, you're flocking maybe 2 or 3 aircraft, that they're going to stay in sync and they're going to bank as they need to as they run around in the path that you're providing them. So here now a quick scrub, and you can see that they are automatically banking as they come into the curve and go around. So this flying things down a hallway, blood vessels down a blood tube, a lot of things come to mind as flocking behavior. People lining up in a line trying to get through a doorway would be the same kind of thing. Let me see here. If I bringing this is another tool that's unique to Lightwave 11.5, and this again is a control for controlling our agents as they're moving through. This is mesh avoidance. I can set up a given shape that as the agents are moving around and through, I can put in barriers and say, look, I don't want you to go through here, and they will move around them. This particular is showing these boxes here are set up as the avoids, and as you can see, the agents are coming and going around them, then forming back up afterwards. Once this is through calculating, we can go to the camera view, which is set down to see these as they're flying toward us. We turn on the VPR, go back to our camera view, and as you can see, these are some ships that are coming in and avoiding these pillars. So again, we're trying to give the artist the control, the ease, how to make these things do what we want them to do, and at the same time making them as easy to control as we possibly can. So let's see here. If we go back and just clear out a scene here. So what you have in our flocking controls is we have directors and we have generators. Our directors, in certain things, you will actually find to have more control when you pull them up through the interface of the plugins. Range, what kind of goal I'm going to avoid, deflect, path, plane, or arrive. It's going to give me the arrive mesh if I have geometry inside of that. My range, if I set a range, that means only when that thing gets within that range. If I leave my range at 0, that means it's going to attract it from as far away as infinity. We are actually in the process, and it's in here, and that is the ability in the flock to choose a behavior of whether or not it is neutral, predator, or prey. And as it stands right now, if you set one generator with predator and the other generator with prey, the predator chased the prey, and I can't ever catch up with it again. But this is an exciting thing because it's getting more involved in the behaviors where we can tell things, look, go after these only under a certain circumstance. We're going to be seeing a lot more controls coming into this as well. So again, let's go here to, if I choose a sphere, I can actually tell it specific number for the count and set a goal and quickly calculate. And as you can see in the base, it's got a lot more gentle motion. So if I change this flock and come in here to the agents, again, I'm going to take off the match velocity and change its max speed up. Calculate, and now it'll probably reach over to the goal. And here you see that deceleration. Let me extend this just a little bit and hit calculate because I did add some frames. As they approach that goal, they are easing down and then stopping at the goal instead of going into a crazy motion. This, I do believe, was used for Hunger Games. doing the wasps during that particular thing. Previs for the wasps. And I do believe we managed to squash a lot of bugs, no pun. Well, actually, maybe a pun was intended with doing that particular work for the Hunger Games. But this is actually laying the groundwork for having a lot more control over particle systems, having smart particle systems that are controllable by nodes, by our node editor, to give the artist, again, we're trying to stress here, one man, you are the pipeline. You don't have to go to someone else. You can just, you as the artist can, from concept to completion, finish your shots by yourself. Very quickly here, it's quite simple to, I'm just going to throw in a cube, grab that agent, the director, I'm sorry, the flock rather, properties, come down to my instancing tab and throw this particular cube onto the particles, set it to texture, and now those agents have those cubes attached to them. This could, just like the alien swarm, it could be a moving character. This could be planes, it could be bugs, it could be practically anything. Balloons, bubbles, whatever your heart desires, whatever the shot requires. I'm ready. Yes. So again, what I would actually want to do for this is I would want to set up on my instance generator to give it, I'm sorry, not the instance generator, but the flock generator, is I would want to give my agents just a little bit of size to hope to prevent them from colliding with one another. And as you can see, them pushing each other away as they get down there to the goal. I hope those of you who have 11.5 will download 11.5. I hope those of you who have 10 or earlier give 11.5 a real serious look. There's a lot of tools that have changed. I've gotten so many questions from people who, I have 9. Tell me what's different between 9 and 11. Oh my gosh, I don't have time at the show in order to completely answer that question. Flocking is one of those great tools that people have asked for years. Instancing, what you've got is you've got in Genoma and everything else. It's coming together, and we're looking forward, I think, to the next 20 years of Lightwave. We're here to stay. We're ready to help anyone make their vision come true.